Hello and welcome to Fats on Film. I am your host, Hannah Ogilvie, and this week we are talking about the 2007 classic musical of Hairspray. And this week I am joined by my very esteemed guest, Sarah Miles, contributor to Ghouls Magazine and freelance writer. Hello, Sarah.
Hello.
Hello,
That might be the first time I've ever been described as esteemed. I'll take it.
esteemed guest. Oh, all my guests are esteemed guests, but I'm very happy that you have reached out and wanted to be part of my little show. So how are you doing, Sarah?
I am good. I am very good this morning. Yeah, I'm really excited to kind of get into this and because whilst I am a ghoul at heart, I do love a musical.
Absolutely. So for those who are not in the podcast making world, we often have a chat just before we start recording. And I was saying to Sarah, like, how, again, I'm a ghoul at heart, love horror, but the whole point of this podcast was we don't want to be put in boxes. We want to talk about everything. So I was very happy when Sarah reached out. I want to talk about a musical because I love a musical. What's your favorite musical, Sarah?
Oh geez.
Sorry, that's a massive question right off the bat.
No, I mean it's like at the moment, it's like because I actually recently for Ghouls, I did review the filmed version of the Heathers musical.
Oh, I didn't even
Uh
know. Oh no, that's just coming out, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's just coming out. So I actually recently reviewed that for Ghouls.
Oh, cool.
So I have been listening to a lot of that lately, but I also love, lately, Waitress is just
Yes.
amazing.
Yes.
Six,
Mm-hmm.
um, big fan of Six.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but gosh, Phantom, Sweeney Todd, like I love so many musicals.
You love them. No, that you're the person to go to for musicals then. I did not know this about you, and I love finding this out. And my favorite musical is Moulin Rouge.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I adore that film so much. I am thinking about getting a Moulin Rouge tattoo, but I don't know what.
Ooh.
But I don't want it to be like too cliche either. Like I don't want it to be like a red windmill even. Like I want it to be a bit more subtle and like only fans would get it. But I haven't
What
found
about
it yet.
Green Fairy?
Yeah, but then people just think I love absinthe, and I'm like, no,
Mm.
nah, it's not that.
Although I went to Paris recently and I couldn't go in the Moulin Rouge, but
Mm.
I did get some pictures outside of it. And there is a
Oh,
little gift shop, and I got like a couple of bookmarks and things.
cute. Yeah, well, I went with my friend Mike. It was his first 30th. I got us tickets to the West End musical,
Ah.
and we're already on a tangent. So we go.
Love it.
We've had a few bottles of prosecco. We're having a great time. Side note: I don't like the West End musical or whatever the musical version. I think it,
No, a few people I know who have seen it
yeah,
have said that,
because it doesn't. The story is completely different and the motivations completely change.
and a few
Anywho,
of the song changes are a bit
yeah, they're a bit on the
weird.
nose. A bit on,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, anyway, it's a jukebox musical, so they are hit and miss anyway.
yeah.
But anyway, so at interval, I rush to the bathroom, and this poor woman is bringing another poor woman like through. She's like, she needs to get in, she needs to get in, and obviously to be sick in the stall. And I was like,
Oh
whoa,
dear.
someone went hard. It's only like the first act. Like, you're not gonna make it. And afterwards, like me and Mike, we're pretty buzzed. We're leaving. And he's going to the bathroom. He comes out, he's like, there's a girl barfing in the men's. And I was like, I wonder if it's the same one or if there's just multiple massively pissed women at the show.
Apparently, Moulin Rouge, the musical, is where you go to get shit faced.
That is where you go. So I don't know whether it's a combination of getting shit faced and obviously it's very emotional. So yeah, there was women crying and barfing all over the place. So if you ever want to
Wow.
go, just be prepared.
That's a bit. That sounds quite intense.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. But we're here to talk about Hairspray. We're not
We
here to
are
talk
to.
about Moulin Rouge.
Yes.
Right. So I'm gonna run through like Hairspray as a property. So, Hairspray was released in 2007, as I said. It is a film adaptation of the 2002 Broadway musical, which in itself was a Broadway adaptation of the John Waters 1988 film. I love it when that feels very like the producers was a film, then became a Broadway musical, then became a film again. It feels very like that. So the Hairspray 2007 was directed by Adam Shankman, and I was like, who is Adam Shankman? He also directed Cheaper by the Dozen 2, The Wedding Planner, Jennifer Lopez vehicle, The Wedding Planner.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, love. And also teen drama A Walk to Remember, when Mandy Moore's like chronically ill and she's gonna die. Very sad film. Made me bawl my eyes out when I was like 13 years old. So that's his directorial stuff. He also choreographed the Buffy musical episode Once More
Oh,
with Feeling. That's also him. He was a choreographer for that. And then the screenplay. Oh God, the screenplay person, Leslie Dixon, icon. Listen, Overboard, Freaky Friday, Mrs. Doubtfire. She is
wow.
a legend of like a comedy writer. Yeah, this film made $203 million at the box office, which is a success. And it has an ensemble cast. So we've got John Travolta, Michelle Pfeiffer, Christopher Walken, Amanda Bynes. I was so happy to see Amanda Bynes. Amanda
Yeah,
Bynes, James Marsden. I love James Marsden.
he's great.
So good. Absolutely adore. Scream Queen Brittany Snow,
Yeah.
Queen Latifah, Zac Efron. I would
Oh.
love. We will absolutely get to Zac Efron. I totally forgot. But as soon as I heard her voice, Alison Janney, I was like, oh
I
my god!
love it when she just pops up in
Oh,
things. It's like,
yeah,
yay.
it made my heart sing. I was like, oh, love. And then starring Nikki Blonsky in her debut role as Tracy Turnblad. This was Oscar nominated for Best Hair and Makeup. Unfortunately, it is for another fat suit. And as we've just moved past Oscars 2023, and
Burn all the fat suits, just giant bonfire.
I'm just burning to the ground.
Just,
But
ugh.
we literally just got past these Oscars and we had 3 nominations for Best Hair and Makeup, which were fat suits. We had
Yeah, I was going to say, wasn't it like
Elvis,
3 out of the 4?
3 out of the 5. Yeah.
Oh, 3 out of the 5.
We had Elvis, the Whale, and the Batman, and I'm just like, nothing has changed. So yeah, that's kind of how it did, kind of performance wise and amongst critics. Why don't you, Sarah, tell us what is Hairspray actually about?
Well, Hairspray is set in 1960s. I want to say specifically 1962, Baltimore in Maryland, and we follow the pleasantly plump Tracy Turnblad, who, more than anything, she loves to dance, and she pursues a place on the local TV show, the Corny Collins Show. And kind of in the process of that, she catches the eye of the young Link, and she also gets involved in, she becomes aware and gets involved in the issues of the time, being of racial segregation and racism.
Thank you so much. So I think that is a really good place to jump off on, because let's talk about Tracy. I think whenever anyone talks about things about Hairspray, obviously, like, she is her, and maybe I guess Edna are like the faces of this film, with the big hair and the perfectly round face.
Yes.
It's interesting because when I was talking about Silence of the Lambs with Meg Kenny, we talked about how that round face is just like an instant signifier to your audience, like, oh, this is a bigger than normal person. And Nikki Blonsky's got this beautifully round face and these big bouncy hair. And we first meet her, and I thought it was really telling. She starts singing Good Morning Baltimore, banger of a song.
Oh yeah.
What an opening. And I think it's literally the second or third line. She mentions how she's hungry for something I can't eat. And she opens the fridge and then she shuts it and then she reaches for an apple. And I'm like, oh, so if there's any any confusion over what this might be about, we've clarified it within 2 lines, because like, oh no, this is someone who knows that she is big and is trying to not be big no more.
Yeah, but I would say kind of like definitely I think part of her journey in the film is definitely kind of like accepting herself entirely as herself.
Yes.
So I think that is definitely a journey she goes on.
Yes.
But at that point, yes, it's just like, yeah, it is very much kind of like a shorthand for, yes, big person.
Big person. And so what is Tracy's personality like? You mentioned how she loves dancing. Obviously I want to understand in the premise of the film whether she's a singer or not, because she does sing, but her goal is to dance. And I'm wondering, like, within this world, she actually doesn't really sing. It's just for the film's benefit. Like, she isn't trying to take Link's role on the Corny Collins show, is she? She just wants to be there to dance.
No, it is I would say it is definitely just dancing kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think yeah, the singing is just kind of with the musical medium. But I mean, it's like I would describe her as just delightfully optimistic
Mm-hmm.
and positive,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean bubbly. And it's like she isn't great in school, but she has this like one thing that she's really passionate about.
Yes.
You know, she's definitely a bit naive, I think,
Yes. Yeah.
especially when it comes to when she starts getting involved in the issues around segregation.
Mm-hmm.
She definitely has a bit very slightly naive point of view of it all.
Mm-hmm.
Her heart's in the right place, kind of thing.
Yes, and I think that's the most important thing is like she is naive and I think she has a really rose tinted glass view of the world, which I think is interesting because everyone around her is telling her she's too big, and yet she somehow is able to maintain that positive look on the world. And obviously, she doesn't understand why there's segregation because she loves the way that the black kids dance. She wants to incorporate that into like just how everyone should dance. She likes the music. She doesn't understand why we're not sharing in the most naive way. She's just like, it's just cool. Why wouldn't we do that? But I thought her point of view was interesting because her parents aren't outwardly like pro desegregation either. I mean, they do voice it towards the end, but I wanted to know where that came from. And I wonder if it's like there's definitely meant to be parallels between her being fat and therefore being ostracized and therefore being taken away from opportunities because of how she looks, and then also like applying that to skin color, which I understand is maybe not great
Yeah,
because
yeah, but
they're
I think
very
it's more
different.
just like her point of view is I get what it means. Like I get what it means to be an outsider.
Yes.
We should all, like all the outsiders, we should all look out for each other, kind of thing.
Yeah, is that idea like of equality means everyone, because
Yes.
if you only get a little bit of like equality and then you're really gatekeepy about other people getting equality, well then that means your equality is also really vulnerable. That means
Mm.
they could then take yours away. Like we are not truly equal until everyone is equal.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
and I think, yeah, from an activist ally point of view, Tracy maybe not fully understands that because, like you say, she is very young. I how old she meant to be, like 16, 17 in this
Yeah,
film?
like
Yeah.
I would say 16, yeah.
Yeah. So she's super young. She's, quite green to the world. But that is ultimately the messaging of the film. Like, we are not free until we're all free.
I mean, there's I believe there's a line when it's like Mona Mouth is
Mm-hmm.
like she says so something like have you been sleeping in history class? And she's like,
Yeah.
always.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. She's like, I'm not aware, but
Yeah.
but then at the same time, I think that shows, that they talk about when you see it on like YouTube or TikTok or whatever, these kids, like very young kids who like have no hate in their system because they're super, super young, and like hate is taught. Like she hasn't had a chance to be taught the hate because she's sleeping through it. Like she's just like, oh, so her view of the world is very just like probably like the most childlike, innocent, not been poisoned by any kind of propaganda or, I guess, different agendas. She is very green in that sense, and that's why she's like the perfect ally in a way, because she uses her privilege. She gets on the Corny Collins show, and she uses her privilege to protest with the black people who have been told they're not allowed to have Negro Day anymore, and she protests with them, and I just think that that's a really powerful moment. Again, she doesn't fully understand, I guess, the politics at play, but she knows this is wrong, and I'm going to stand up for her, even against her mom's wishes. I mean, her dad does, encourage her in the end, but her mom is very against it.
I think because her mum is essentially scared of like it's just like it's that whole thing of if you stand out, if you try to make
Yes.
a stand and
Yes.
stand out,
Mm-hmm.
you put yourself open for attack.
Exactly. I think I said this earlier this week in one of my Instagram posts, but I truly believe representation can only happen or if you put yourself out there, and that requires being vulnerable. So Tracy is putting herself in a very vulnerable position to her mum's fear. And we'll get into Edna because I actually think she's the most interesting character in this. But yeah, I think Edna, she just wants her baby to be safe. But her idea of safety is to stay inside and not have anyone look at you, because the fear of being looked and being judged and being rejected or being bullied or whatever it is, that's too much for Edna to handle. She's just like, well, if I can't handle it, my baby can't handle it. She's not giving Tracy the respect. That's not fair. The Jews that she's actually like her own independent woman who can make her own decisions. By the end, she understands it. But of course, that's the journey of the film. We have to have a journey. We have to like have some character development. But I think Tracy, like she's a really fun friend. So Penny, who's played by Amanda Bynes, like I said, I was very happy to see Amanda Bynes. I love. And she's in this incredibly strict religious household. She's not allowed to watch the Corny Collins show. She's not allowed to listen to this fun, cool music of the time. But Tracy really encourages her, like, being a bit rebellious, like come out of your shell, and Penny then meets Seaweed, and then they have like a romantic relationship, and it's interracial. So obviously that's got a few hairs running. But yeah, I think she's a great friend. She obviously, what I like is that she really fancies Link, rightly so, because it's Zac Efron,
Zac Efron,
prime High School Musical age. So when we were young, obviously we were all obsessed with High School Musical, and obviously all obsessed with Zephron. And so yeah, like she fancies him, but I don't know. Do you think I can't remember if there's a line in any of the songs where she kind of voices that he can't fancy her because of her body? Like, does she have that self-consciousness with him?
I believe kind of like there's kind of like in I Can Hear the Bells that it's like everybody says that he won't like what he'll see, but I know that he'll look inside of me.
Got you.
And so there's a few kind of like lines like that said, there's another line that's like, everybody said that a guy who's such a gem won't look my way. I might be completely wrong on that one. But I think that is definitely there.
Yeah.
And there's a line later in the film where kind of like when after the police break up the protests and things, he says, "This adventure's too big for me."
Yes.
And she has a reaction where, like, as if like, are you saying I'm too big for you, kind of thing. And and it's clearly just like he misspoke, kind of thing.
Yes.
But that I think it's definitely something that she's aware of. And yeah, it is. Everybody says that guy such a gem won't look my way. Well, the laugh's on them.
There you go. Well done for quick googling that. That was seamless. Well done.
I
had no idea. I had no idea that's what you were doing. So that was brilliant. Thank you for like Google. fact checking yourself. It was
gonna bug me if I didn't check it.
No,
I think there is that, but there's also in Without Love, like the celebration, Link sings, Tracy, I'm in love with you no matter what you weigh.
No matter what you weigh, yes. And I think but I guess from Link's point of view, he's reassuring her, like, your body isn't a defining factor of whether or not I find you attractive, which is great. Love, I love a body diversity representation in a couple. So you have like a bigger person with a more straight sized person, but more often not, it's the other way around. So you get like bigger men with more slender women. But in this relationship, it's the bigger women, a bigger girl. And I like how he seems to just like find her completely endearing. She's so confident despite everyone telling her, like her mom, people on the street, the the Von Tussles when she goes audition, like all the mean girls, all calling her, like whale and just really nasty, like fat phobic insults.
What's that one line Amber has? It's like the show isn't broadcast in CinemaScope.
Yeah, when I heard that, I was like, oh, hon, that's rude.
I think that's a line from the original film as
Is
well.
it? Oh, see,
Yeah,
that's interesting. I didn't know like how much of it, like, because I've never seen the
there's
88
little bits and
version.
pieces. I've seen
Yeah,
clips. But
yeah.
also one clip I saw, it's like when Tracy auditions for the Corny Collins show,
Mm-hmm.
she says that there are other pleasantly plump people watching the show at home, which
Yeah.
I think is a very nice thing. It's just like even within the story of the film,
Yes.
representation.
Representation. Like I mean, this is what this podcast is about, is like actually how are other bodies represented? Is it positive? Is it negative? And what's the film trying to say about them? I think that's like ultimately like the question, because people like to pretend that this stuff doesn't matter. Oh, okay. Like a really good example is the live action Little Mermaid, and how so Halle Bailey has been
Mm.
cast as Ariel. Also, side note, fucking love the Little Mermaid. I am so excited for this live action film. I will be at the cinema.
I was never really a Little Mermaid kid.
Oh my
Like
god,
for
what kind of
some
kid were
reason,
you?
I Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, I love Beauty and the Beast. Yeah.
But I don't know why. I never really liked Little Mermaid that much. I
Ah.
could not tell you why. But it's like, but I mean, it looks lovely. I think she
Mm.
looks adorable.
I just think
Like,
like why not? Like I
yeah.
don't understand this idea of like, well, it has to be white. Why not?
There
Like
was also a thing recently where in the West End production of Phantom,
mm.
a Black Christine,
Oh, okay,
kind
cool.
of like there was some the usual idiots kind of making a
Shut
big deal of that, but it's like, why not?
But this is the idea that like if you like start, changing characteristics of these, I guess, classic characters, right? That you're taking away representation from those other groups. And it's like, no, you've already got it. You've already got it. Like you're good. And there's also this idea, like, are you not able to relate to someone who doesn't look like yourself?
Because
Um,
like for some of us,
we have to do it.
everything is we have to relate to people who don't look like us because that's what we get.
It's what we're given, right? Like, growing up, we didn't have any plus size Disney princesses. Do we still? I don't even think we still have any.
No,
Like,
not really.
but like, it doesn't mean I don't love Ariel. It doesn't mean I don't love Belle. Like, I do, and like, it allows you to create and build empathy, which is a much needed life skill.
Though in some parts of the world, it seems to be a dirty word these days.
I mean, I don't know what to say to that, because it's like
Mm,
it's the bare minimum.
mm.
It's the bare minimum requirement.
Just common human decency, I'd
Just
say.
really is. So I just think like, yeah, to see in Hairspray that they are focusing on, fat representation, as much as I appreciate they probably didn't say those words back then,
Mm,
because it's only in recent time where we're starting to kind of reclaim that word fat and make it more like make it more the term was meant for, which is a
mm,
defining term. It's not an insult, it's not to belittle. It literally is, people have fat on their body, therefore they are fat people. But that's not, there shouldn't be any connotations around that, but I appreciate that there
mm,
are. And so with Hairspray, they are tackling the fact that we see very few fat people on our screens. And what I really like about Tracy is we have this confident, very sure of herself, athletic person.
mm.
She's flexible, she's incredibly fit, and yet she's in her bigger body. And obviously we've been told our entire lives, well, those things don't compute. The amount of times I've been told to go to the gym is like, I go to the gym, you should see me in the gym, I'm in the gym. We do keep fit. Like, it's just this weird, I don't know, this dissonance where we've been told for so long fat people are lazy, they don't work out. And like, no, they do. And they're flexible and they're fit and they can dance and they're talented and they're motivated. Like, we are multifaceted, nuanced people. And this film does a really good job of showing that. I believe it shows a really good job of that. And I think especially if you were to watch this when you were young, I think that would have been a really good, like, just something to witness and kind of to see that we're allowed to have dreams. We're allowed to want to be on TV. We're allowed to, want to be creative people. And
we're allowed to want the heartthrob.
Oh my God, very good point.
And be wanted by the heartthrob.
And be wanted by 100%. And I think that's really important. And especially the fact it's Zac Efron. I'm going back to Zac Efron again. In that time, he was
absolutely
biggest heartthrob, and the fact that he wants to be with a fat girl, that's awesome. That's like so, like, that gives you like chills thinking about it, thinking back to like young Hannah being like, oh, he might want me, like, oh, like, so lovely. That's really good casting.
Oh, 100%. Like, I mean, yeah, it's like you couldn't have cast someone better to be like to exemplify the word heartthrob, because I think it was his third like feature film role or so. Because I mean, the first two High School Musicals were just like made for Disney Channel. They weren't released theatrically. But so yeah, like third or fifth if you count the High School Musicals film or so, like major cinema release or so.
Yeah, and well, I read that Adam Shankman, the director, gave Zac this role based on High School Musical, the first one. And I found that a bit interesting because he doesn't sing in that first film. He's dubbed.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until relatively recently.
Oh,
I didn't
really?
know that.
Yeah. I think I've always been aware. From a very young age, I would watch a film and then go straight onto IMDb and read the trivia. And I've been doing that since maybe like 12 years old. So I remember learning that. I love it. I love the IMDb trivia. So I remember reading that then, and like there are parts where you can hear his real voice and then it kind of gets dubbed in. So yeah, I was like, I don't know why Adam Shankman like watched that and go, oh yeah, Zac Efron would be great for this really like singing role when he hasn't heard him sing yet. But it doesn't matter because he can sing. He can, and obviously then he does continue to sing for like the rest of the High School Musical films. But just that I don't know why, maybe like his voice was breaking or something like that, like consistency wise.
Maybe, yeah.
But yeah, so I think Zac Efron's very good in Hairspray. He's very like, he's for lack of a better word, he is our leading man. He is our love interest, and he's so baby in it. When I saw him, I was like, "Oh my God, you're so young!" But yeah, he's just sweet, and he's a good support. I mean, yeah, okay, he does bow out because he gets scared that he's going to lose his opportunities, right? The idea that like, oh well, if I use my privilege, I might get like a black mark against my name and like my career would be over. So that fear really plays into his decision making, which I don't it's not like I support, but I understand. Like it's like an explanation, but it's not an excuse.
Yeah, and also he's a kid.
He's a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're asking him to do really grown up things. And then you've got like what's Michelle Pfeiffer's character called?
Oh, no. Amber's the daughter.
Amber's the daughter.
So Velma.
Yeah. So Velma. Oh my God, what an asshole.
But also just, I mean, Michelle Pfeiffer's just so good.
So I actually wanted to bring up Michelle Pfeiffer because when I was listening to her, I was like, I don't think this woman can sing.
Do you not remember Grease 2? Thank you very much.
I have never seen Grease 2. I know I'm bad, but I've never seen it. But okay, have you seen the producers, as in like Matthew Broderick, Nathan Lane, Uma Thurman?
I've not. No.
Oh, right. First of all, absolutely love. But Uma Thurman's voice in that is very similar to Michelle Pfeiffer's voice in this.
Oh, okay.
And what I'm saying is auto-tuned to fuck. And I was hearing it and I was like, oh, this is literally the exact same pitch. Yeah, so whatever, what's Velma's song in this called? Well, she sings like
Miss
London...
Baltimore Crabs.
Yes. Okay, so if you listen to that song and then if you listen to Flaunt It from the producers, you would think it was the same person. It's like
Okay.
their voices are so similar to me anyway. I think she's great as the role, and she's obviously like she's so villainous. Like she's dripping with like evil in this, I feel. and but she but I also like read that there I think in the musical, like on the stage, there's a redemption arc for Amber and Velma.
Yes, basically, in You Can't Stop the Beat,
Yes.
um, they have their own little line that's something like, ever since we first saw the sun, the Van Tussle girls were always trying to please someone, but
Mm-hmm.
now we're gonna shake and shimmy it and have some fun.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so like there is a line where it's just like, I think that is kind of like their own way of saying kind of like screw society.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
their
So
own very small way. And I
and
mean, like in this, you get Brittany Snow kind of like
yes,
making
having
eyes
eyes.
at one of the
Yeah.
black dancers, and so it's like so that these things are taught,
Yes, they are taught. Yeah.
but and maybe with an opportunity to be away from that, Amber might not be a terrible person.
Yeah. I think
I
I
mean, she's
totally
even
agree.
initially willing to be like, I lost, get over it.
Yes. And I totally agree with that. I think Amber definitely has space to kind of redeem herself in some way, and you do get glimpses of that at the end. But I'm actually really glad they didn't give Velma a redemption, because I think it would have been really like she's so horrible in this
Mm.
that like I think to give her the verse in Can't Stop the Beat would have been really like whiplash.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that.
Yeah,
And
I think it was a good
I mean, that's
decision.
probably why they cut it out.
Yeah, I think theatrically it wouldn't have worked, and I think they made the right decision, because I was ready to see her in cuffs and walked off. I'm like, get out, go.
And it's just like, I mean, the outfit she wears, she looks sewn into them, and
Oh no,
it's perfect.
the
Oh,
costume
costumes in this
design.
whole film are amazing.
Oh my god, they're brilliant. They are brilliant. But I wanted to see Tracy in like a traditional 50s, 60s style dress, because they keep her in that shirt and then the kind of, I guess, like was it like a knee length checkered skirt?
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
was like, where I want her in like a bit of a poof. I just want to see a bit of a poofy dress. But then,
True, although we do get the kind of like the more kind of like, because obviously it's kind of like moving from
it,
like the very kind of
yes,
so in You Can't Stop the Bit, she comes out in that more kind of slinky dress.
yes, yes. So she's wearing a trapeze dress twice. So there's when she's having her oh, you're gonna have to help me with the song titles. When she's with got Edna out of the house and they're going to Pinky's to sign a
Oh, welcome to the
contract.
60s.
Welcome to the 60s. Thank you so much. She's got like a pink trapeze dress on there. And then in the final Cats Up Beat, she's got her checkerboard, black and white trapeze dress on. And I actually really, really applauded that, because they're not trying to flatter her figure by putting something figure hugging on her, which is what they do with Edna, which we'll get into. And I actually really like that. Like they're not trying to like hide anything from her. She's wearing something that some people could deem as like and I am using air quotes, like a tent, because we associate with bigger oversized clothing on fat people as like unflattering, which is not true, because she looks so good. She's got her arms out, which I loved. I was like,
Yeah.
oh god. So those costume design choices I really enjoyed.
I mean, I
um
don't know about you, but at that age,
oh
kind of like me personally, I was just layers,
yeah,
layers upon layers, sleeves,
uh-huh,
like long sleeves, even in
uh-huh,
the middle of summer. So the
yeah.
idea of wearing a sleeveless dress like that
Oh,
would
I
have
know.
been unfathomable to me
Yeah.
at 17 years old.
Yeah. No, I really hear that. I actually can't remember what I would have worn at that age, but I really struggled to find clothes that I liked when I was younger. I'm sure like most people or bigger kids did. But I grew up in Spain, and in Spain, well back then, so we're talking like in the noughties, like their XL was like a size 12, size 14 UK. And I was
Ooh.
easily size 16, 18 from like ages
Mm.
of like 15 up, right? So I don't even know, you know what? I would have to look through photos now to see what I wore, because I cannot tell you. But I agree, like there was always like such a thing about arms and like hips. and obviously bellies, like, you know, that
Mm.
whole midriff area. So I really did love her coming out and being, she looked so good. I, you know, I mean, they didn't make her look like shit. And even in the shirt skirt thing that I was criticizing earlier, she still looks good.
Oh
I just
yeah, it's an adorable look. Like
it is. I just wanted variety. I think I just wanted more, and that's fair.
I can get that. I mean, it's like because I actually technically played Tracy.
Oh
Um
my God, Sarah, how did you not open with that?
yeah, I mean it's like basically it was like I was in the musical theatre society at university,
Amazing.
and we did a variety show, and one of the numbers was Mama, I'm a Big Girl Now, which is not in the film of
Yes.
Hairspray but is in the
Yeah.
musical,
I've heard of
and
it. Yeah.
I sang the Tracy part.
You're
So
Tracy.
I was a Tracy, yeah.
Oh my God. And what did you wear as Tracy?
Oh, I basically wore kind of like a basically kind of like a plaid shirt dress kind of thing.
Cute. Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense because it's kind of very similar to her silhouette she has in that
Yeah, I think
shirt
that was
skirt
kind of
thing.
like the idea of it. Yeah,
Yeah, very preppy. Cute.
yeah, it was very.
Oh my God. And how did it go?
It went pretty good. Annoyingly, it was the one show we did where, because they recorded all the shows, but that was the one show where the video file got mangled, so I don't have a copy of it, unfortunately.
Ah, that
It was my one
sucks.
solo, and then that was and
Oh,
yeah.
oh, that sucks. Oh, I'm sorry to hear
But
that.
it was really good fun, and like
Yeah.
and Matt, the guy who played my mum in that,
Yes.
we were on very good terms, and he always referred to me as his daughter.
Oh, that's so cute. Oh, oh, well, I didn't realize we had like a Tracy in our midst. Like, you know, you could talk to Tracy more than any of us. That's amazing.
It was just like I think the theme was growing like life, a lifetime. So we started off, I believe the opening number of the show was "You Can Be as Loud as the Hell You Want When You're Making Love" from Avenue
Oh,
Q. So
nice.
conception to,
Yeah.
and I
Oh,
one of the
yeah.
last ones was Seasons of Love
Mm-hmm.
from, but and so yeah, we did Mama and Big Girl Now, and then the next one was actually from High School Musical.
Amazing.
It was Stick to the Status Quo.
Oh, great song. Great
Like those were
performance.
to represent the teenage years.
Oh, I hear you. Oh, I, honestly, High School Musical is amazing. I'm glad that it exists. Did you ever see oh God, I don't even know what year it was. Maybe 2009 Oscars, maybe 2010. Hugh Jackman hosted, and it was like an
Yeah.
ode to musicals. And so oh, it was the Les Mis year. No, no,
The
it wasn't.
lame is, yeah.
No, was it? But anyway, and then so he's there. Yeah, I'm sure he's there with Anne Hathaway. I think Amanda Seyfried is there with Dominic Cooper from Mamma Mia. And
Hmm.
then you've got Vanessa Hudgens and Zac Efron for High School Musical on the Oscar stage. And I'm like, my
Yeah,
babies.
not
Like,
bad for a Disney Channel TV movie that actually started out as a remake of Grease.
coming through with the trivia. Tell me more. Like, what
Yeah, no,
happened?
basically that was kind of like the original impetus of High School Musical was kind of a modern version of Grease.
It makes sense because they're like lovers on different sides of the track. How have we never made this connection before? Oh,
I can't
love.
remember where I read that, but yeah,
No,
it was
great. No, that you're I totally hear that. Like now you've said it, I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense. But let's move on to Edna. So I as we were talking about Greece, so as I was watching John Travolta be Edna, Tracy's mum, it's welcome to the 60s. He comes out of the dressing room and the man is trying to sing. And
yes.
I go to myself, hold on. John Travolta's been in the musical before, right? Took me 5 seconds to go fucking Grease. Jesus Christ. That's like his biggest film. But I was like, because I was hearing it, I was like, he is struggling. I was like, but surely I'm sure he's a singer. And I appreciate obviously, you know, Grease is however many years old at this
Yeah.
point. And he's also like, sorry, I've gone on a massive tangent. We should set up Edna first before I go right into criticizing the hell out of it. Okay. So Edna is played by John Travolta. So this role is normally played by a man, isn't it?
Yes, it's basically because in the John Waters film,
Mhm.
Edna was played by Divine, who was
Oh, well, that makes so much
yes,
sense for John Waters, of course.
that's basically and who was a it's kind of hard to define Divine, unlike between drag artist, female impersonator,
Hmm.
like yeah, so the role has always been played by men. I mean, on stage you've had Michael Ball playing the role.
Yes. Yeah.
I love the fact that he went from Hairspray
Mhm.
to Sweeney Todd.
Oh, did he go on to play Sweeney Todd?
Yeah, yeah. So
Oh,
like imagine going from Edna to Sweeney Todd.
I mean, the range. The
Yeah, oh,
range.
100%, absolutely.
Well
But
done,
yeah,
him. No, but you're right. Like, we're talking like super camp, and then Sweetie Todd is like super dark and sinister, but in a good way, in like the best way.
yeah,
Yeah, so I saw because when I was doing a bit of research for this, that they did like the 2016 TV kind of adaptation in the States.
yeah. Oh
And
yes, that's the one that has Ariana Grande playing
yes,
Penny.
Penny. Yeah. And I
Which
wondered actually if you knew, does Penny have like more songs in the stage adaptation?
she is involved in Mama I'm a Big Girl Now.
Is she?
Because that song it's Tracy, Penny, and Amber kind of
Oh,
singing about it's like, stop telling me what to do, mum. Like let me live
sure.
my
Oh no,
life.
that makes so much
It's very much that
sense.
kind of thing.
Got
And
you.
it is very much kind of like it, yeah, let me live my own life and
Mm.
kind of song.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I didn't know of that song. So I thought, well, if Ariana Grande's in it, surely they're giving her more to sing. Because again, I love you, Amanda Bynes, but not a singer. So they don't give her a lot in this, and I just didn't
No.
know whether that was different. Anyway, and I saw in that TV version, Harvey Firestein was Edna, which is really fun. So yeah, so John Travolta played.
He was
Oh,
in
go
the
on.
original Broadway cast, Harvey
Oh,
Firestein. Yes,
really?
he was the original Broadway cast for that. Sorry to interrupt, but yeah.
No, no, no. Of course, that's incredible knowledge. We need to know that. John Travolta comes on as Edna, and he actually encouraged like Michelle Pfeiffer to sign on. Like he's
Okay.
quite instrumental in having some of the other cast members come on. And he says that he really wanted the fat suit. So John Travolta was put into a fat suit to portray Edna, who is meant to be this bigger woman. He wanted the fat suit to be realistic. And I would love to hear your opinion on that.
Interesting. I
Mm.
mean, kind of like looking at pictures,
Mm-hmm.
there is definitely kind of like a fullness to the legs,
Mm-hmm.
which sometimes is not really like done with some fat suits.
Mm-hmm.
Um, did you see the recent Matilda movie?
No, I've seen pictures though in
But
trailers.
yes, no, it's like because I've mainly seen clips, but the
Emma
Bruce
Thompson.
Bogtrotter. No, no,
Oh,
no, not Emma
oh,
Thompson.
sorry. Go
Bruce
on.
Bogtrotter, the kid who's made to eat the cake, he basically just looks as if he's got a pillow shoved up his shirt. So
Oh.
he's very big around here, but then he's just got like skinny kid legs.
Oh, come on.
But yeah, I mean, but yes, also you have Emma Thompson
And then Emma Thompson,
in a
yeah,
fat
that's what,
suit.
yeah, I know.
Well, burn all the fat
Mm.
suits.
Jesus, I know.
Just
They're so prevalent
on
at the
fire.
moment. I just think like I have a real like I don't understand it moment of it because I've said this so many times, I get that they want the name, right? They want Emma
Mm.
Thompson, they want John Travolta. Like, I get it. The John Travolta one's actually a bit more difficult because it's usually played in drag, but we'll get there are also
Yeah.
fat drag queens, so like there are people that could do it. Yeah, I understand they want to like get Emma Thompson, they want to get Tom Hanks, they want to get, Colin Farrell in the Batman. They want to have those names, but then they just make them completely wholly unrecognizable. So what's the fucking point?
Mm.
I'm like, just get fat people because they're I you'll know more than I am because if you did a musical theater, like I have no understanding of like acting or like performance or anything like that. But I am I would bet money there are many fat people who are talented at acting, singing, dancing, waiting in the wings, waiting to be cast in these roles.
Oh yeah, and I mean earlier, kind of like I mentioned the musical Six.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes.
Is
Very good
very
example.
encouraged to be open in terms of body
Yes.
size and even
Yes.
gender,
Yes.
because one of the male writers of the musical, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he actually understudied for Catherine Parr on Broadway.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
But
cool.
last night here there was big night of musicals on BBC. It was done by the National Lottery. It was this show in the Manchester Arena.
Oh, cool.
But the Sixth performance had a it was very good, and it had a plus size actress playing Catherine of Aragon, kind of thing, and she was great.
Of course she
Like,
was, yeah.
and because, but yes, but that is a show that is like that is very open to whoever, kind of thing, which I love. That, like, body shape, race, like whatever, you can be a queen.
Yeah, well, this is it. And I think, like, I go back to representation, like, it's just giving everyone the opportunity to do it. But if you're constantly only picking people who I guess people already know, and then you go, oh, well, we want Emma Thompson, and just put her in a fat suit, which will take hours to put her in. So I said it took John Travolta 4 hours to put on the £30 fat suit and 5 gel-filled silicone face prosthetics to become Edna. When I look at Edna, she just doesn't look real.
No, absolutely not.
That's the problem with all fat suits, in my opinion. They just lack humanity because they're under like layers of silicone and prosthetics and then makeup to like make it all look flush. And I just think, is that the effect you want? Like, just
it's
to
a
like
bit uncanny valley, really.
Very good term. Exactly that. Very uncanny valley. I actually felt bad for John Travolta because I was like, well, how can you act through all that stuff? And that's why, going back to his performance in Welcome to the 60s, I was like, no wonder you're struggling. Because also, I don't know anything about the Baltimore accent apart from the show The Wire. Is John Travolta's accent good in this?
I could not tell you. I have no idea.
He's the only one who sounds like that. And actually, it was giving me Dr. Evil from Austin Powers, like when I was listening to him. I was like, is no one else sounds like this in this film? Is this
I think
accurate?
it is trying to go for like a, and I could not say whether it's a good accent or not. I'm trying to think, have I ever met someone with a Boston accent? I don't know. Not Boston, Baltimore.
Well, the thing is, like, that's what I mean. Like, I've only seen it in TV and film, but I would love if any listener knows what they should sound like. Please let us know whether it's a good accent or not. Because I'm erring on the side of no. So in Welcome to the 60s, he's performing through this £30 fat suit, these 5 gel silicones, and also trying to do this accent and also sound like a woman, and the man is struggling. And I was like, oh, I feel again, not necessarily his fault, but it's a lot going on. And I especially when you compare, because he's singing with Nikki Blonsky, who is very talented. I'm just like, oh, it really shows him up. But then I do think he is better in the song he sings with Wilbur.
Yes, You're Timeless to Me, which
yes, I think that's better.
Yeah, no, I do think so. And it's like the thing with Edna is like, I mean, yeah, like we've already talked, she's very much kind of motivated by fear, by wanting to make it. It's like, because this is the thing, it's just like fat people, and especially fat women, we are paradoxically kind of encouraged to make ourselves as small as possible.
Yes.
Socially, just to just be quiet, make yourself as small as possible so you don't get in the way. And so like Edna is very much doing that. And like you get the triumphant kind of finish with that when she gets up and dances in You Can't Stop the Beat. And the thing is like her bit in You Can't Stop the Beat, it's like, you can't stop my happiness because I like the way that I am. And then and you can't stop my knife and fork when I see a Christmas ham.
Yes.
I'll get back to that. And then, so if you don't like the way that I look, well, I just don't give a damn.
Yes.
So, and I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Then in the middle, you have kind of one of the problems with Edna, which is that most of her lyrics
Mm-hmm.
are about food.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And okay, you have Big Blonde and Beautiful, which also mentions a lot of food, and that's kind of one of Motormouth Maybelle's like big numbers. But that's the thing, that's not the only thing she sings about,
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. So the difference is kind of like that is predominantly the only thing that Edna sings about versus like some I'm talking myself in pretzels right now.
No, 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 you're right though. Like it's that trope of, well, if you're fat, you must be obsessed with food, right?
Yeah.
And it's because, again, in the very tight confines of media, they've said, well, the only way you can be fat is if you're eating too much. No, those in the know, no, that's not true. There are a
Oh no.
long list of reasons why people have fat on their bodies. But no, it's so much easier, right, to like maintain this idea of like, oh well, you overeat, you're overindulge, it's gluttony, it's sinful, right? So in the premise of the film, they've said Edna is fat because she overeats, and we see her emotionally eat a few times. When she gets upset, she starts eating when Velma has seduced Wilbur.
Yes.
She's emotionally eating in that scene. But what I find interesting about Edna, like she's clearly depressed.
Yeah.
She's agoraphobic. She hasn't left her house in 16 years since I think since Tracy was born. Is it how it's insinuated?
I think there's a line. It's like hey mama, have some fun. And Tracy, I haven't left the house since 1951.
Yes. Yeah, so it's been 11 years if
Yeah.
we're in 62, right? So yeah, so she hasn't left the house. She doesn't want the neighbors to see her because they'll think, I guess, badly of her. And actually, to John's Travolta's credit, I mean, top John, like I know him, like to John's credit,
Johnny boy.
Johnny boy. Going back to your thing about women are encouraged to make themselves smaller and feel smaller and be smaller, his body language was very good. Like constantly,
Yes.
hunching herself over. She would wear her bag on her belly, which I've definitely grown up in a household where I would reach for the sofa cushion and put it on my belly to almost like hide my belly. Like that would help. Oh, bless me.
It's just kind of like it's like a impulse thing, like quick hide.
Yeah, totally. So I really appreciate that little nuance that he was able to give Edna, because I think that tracks. Like she is constantly like terrified of what someone's going to say about her to her face or behind her back. And then there's after Welcome to the 60s, and they're sitting in the diner having some cake, and Velma and Amber come in and
do the mean girl thing.
Are horrible.
Yeah.
And she instantly turns to tears, and you see just how fragile her sense of self is, because she's constantly reminded, or she feels the thing is, she probably hasn't been constantly reminded for 11 years, but like she's reliving those negative experiences, and then as soon as she steps out, the worst happens. She's criticized and she wants to go back into her shell again. And I don't knock her for that makes so much sense.
No, absolutely. But I think kind of like what I was trying to say with like, because I mean, Big Blonde and Beautiful is very much about self-pride.
Yes.
And it's also like, I mean, I believe this is something you've talked about previously, where it's like, if like a skinny girl posts on Instagram that she's like eating a pizza, it's like, yeah, you go, girl. But then if a plus size girl does it, it's like, oh, what are you doing to yourself?
Oh yeah, you're gonna die.
Whereas it's like, I mean, all the lyrics of Big Blonde and Beautiful, it's like, that is like kind of a case of I am who I am, which can include a love of food,
of course,
and it's like, I mean, because I'm big, blonde, and beautiful.
Yeah.
There is nothing about me that's unsuitable.
Yes, exactly. And I think again, you've got the three mums singing
Yeah.
this, right? So we've got Motormouth Maybelle. That's such a tongue twister for me to say.
Right.
Motormouth Maybelle, Edna, and then Velma. All three of them are singing this song at the same time,
I'm
right?
trying to recall though, because I think Edna's part in that might have been just for the film.
Oh, okay, because she's getting ready because she wants to go and have some fun with Wilbur. And I love that because she's like, I love seeing like fat sexuality because I'm like this idea that we're not objects of desire. Going back to Tracy and Link, this idea that we're not objects of desire. But in this, she's like, she's putting on her like pantyhose, like stockings, isn't she?
Because
And
like in the musical, Big
yeah.
Blonde and Beautiful is the Act One ender.
Oh, okay. It
And
feels
that
later on in the film.
yeah, it's kind of that's the big Act One ender, and then it ends with the protest.
Oh my God, okay.
Yeah, it and so that's right. Yeah, that's it. Because like yeah, they go down to the TV station. Sorry, I completely derailed you. But
No, it's fine.
so they and then they get arrested, and then it cuts to kind of like most of the women characters. There's a number that was cut from the film,
Mm-hmm.
because they all get arrested,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's a song called "The Big Doll House,"
Oh, okay.
where like a bunch of them are in prison, and then is when you get Your Timeless to Me. They're out of prison and
Yes.
it's just Wilbur and Edna having this sappy little number.
Yeah.
Basically. That's kind of like that whole thing. And Big Doll House, one of Edna's lines in it is about eating.
Oh, come
Again.
on. The thing is, like, it's this idea that like only fat people like food. I'm like, excuse me, are you telling me that you don't like food? Like this, we all like food. We need food. There's our energy. I'm just real tired of it. And the thing is, I've started a podcast where I'm going to talk about it every damn week of my life now. But it's just tiresome because there's so. The thing is, they actually do try to add nuance to her character because when she becomes Tracy's agent and they go down to Pinky's,
Yeah, I love that scene, how she just like completely takes charge and
she
things.
is so intelligent and smart and confident. I was like, yes,
Yes,
this is
that is.
perfect.
Oh,
Great.
and fun trivia point: the Mr. Pinky of the
Yes,
shop
yes.
is played by Jerry Stiller, who
Yeah.
played Wilbur in the original film.
I saw that and I actually see it as well. Like as soon as I
Yeah.
read that, I was oh no, I could totally see him in that role. Yeah, I think that was really interesting. And I love the actual idea of Pinky's being this plus size shop, and there was loads of different size women in there shopping and like being assistants. I was like, oh yes, love to see it, love to see it. So I like the idea that Tracy being their face was like branding and sponsorship. And again, it's to what you were saying that the film says, she knows that there are pleasantly plump people sitting at home. It's like, yeah, well, there'll be pleasantly plump people who need to buy clothes, and she's gonna, she's getting money out of it. And I'm like, yes, get your bag, Tracy. And Edna being agent Edna was just like, loved. Love, love, love. So I think that's really positive representation. But yeah, the whole constant like thing of her eating or singing about eating or thinking about eating. There's a line where I'm not going to leave the house like this. I don't want to be seen like this. Wait for my next diet. So
yeah,
it's like,
I think that's kind of like I think that might just be just before Welcome to the 60s.
is that just before
I think
60s,
so,
yeah. Back to her fat suit a second. I appreciate like I'm kind of like saying the obvious, but it's very drag queen padding. And what I mean by that is if you've ever seen Drag Race, I mean like who hasn't? When the bigger girls are padding themselves, they make it so like you can't really see their belly. So like their belly is in proportion to their hips and their thighs, right? And that's how Edna is padded. So if you were to like Google Eureka O'Hara, she pads like this. So it's like big hips, thighs, but you can't really see her belly. It's very well disguised because the padding is doing a lot of the work. And I think it's this idea of
yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna have to put a picture on Instagram so people understand what I'm talking about.
Although there's a great picture of her as Ursula here, I'm seeing.
Amazing.
Or it's not as Ursula, it's kind of more an Ursula inspired look.
Inspired. That makes sense. Yeah. So
more self-Googling on my part.
no, I appreciate it. My point being, within fat representation, there is a palatable fat representation, and then there's unpalatable fat representation. So what I mean by that is when you're fat, but you have like a big ass and big tits, that's better than being fat with just like a belly and being, have smaller breasts, or like having like, a smaller bum or even a flat bum. That's seen as like less sexually desirable than the first option. And I think with Edna, they've really played to the male gaze in her padding to keep her as visually palatable as possible for your average audience member. And I thought that was really interesting, where like they can't really do that with Tracy Turnblad because she is a fat woman. They were trying their best to make her seem as like, I guess, curvaceous as possible while still keeping like a round face, because the round faces are non-verbal cue that this is a big person.
That's the indicator.
That is the indicator, but the rest of her body can look snatched, right?
And
she
I think that's very much absolutely. And I think that's very much like in the last number of You Can't Stop the Beat. She is wearing this kind of shorter fringy dress.
And
I think definitely they that like the hips are very emphasized there.
Yeah. And actually I really love Edna's moment in Can't Stop the Beat. I think I love the way John Travolta's dancing. It's so free. I love, actually, we should talk about Wilbur. I love Wilbur's complete support and encouragement to get up there.
He's just totally in love with his wife, basically.
He loves his wife. I love the moment when she like, she sees Velma like trying to seduce, and he's like, my heart beats for a size 60, which I was like, first of all, she's not size 60.
No.
So, but I understand the sentiment behind it. But then he goes, it took me 5 years to realize you were flirting with me. And that really made me laugh. This idea that like Edna like kept trying for 5 years before he even realized. But they are so sweet. But I did think it was interesting that they don't kiss. And I thought in a film where it's talking about representation and desegregation and racial equality and body diversity, they're not going to show two men kiss. Come on.
No,
Come on.
This is very true. And I mean,
it is a Disney film. So
it is. Is it Disney?
I think it's Disney. Isn't it? Oh my God. Have I just said something completely wrong? This is the moment where I cut it because I'm like, no, I look
New
stupid.
Line Cinema.
I thought it was.
Yeah, distributed by New Line Cinema.
Oh, my bad, people. I'm sorry.
Which is Warner Brothers. Yeah, Warner Brothers is New Line is Warner Brothers, I believe.
Okay, well, we can't blame the mouse for that then.
We can't blame. Although it's like, I mean, slight conspiracy theory hat on here, but it's like, John Travolta is a Scientologist.
No, I know.
They're not exactly LGBT friendly, shall we say.
No, I hear you. But still, I don't know whether like in the Broadway, or I keep saying Broadway, but like the stage version, do they kiss in that?
I can't recall. It's been a while since I saw it on stage.
Yeah, because it's at the end of
You're Timeless to Me?
Timeless to Me, thank you. I really appreciate you being here. Yeah, when they get on the sun lounger and Wilbur's kind of dancing around, and then they kind of just like move into each other, and then the candle goes out, I think it is. And
yeah, it's implied, you don't see it.
No, it's implied. But I was like, I want to see it. Like, come on.
Yeah, why not?
I want to see like the mum and dad kiss. Like, it's like a really nice moment, and it's been a really silly number, and I just think it would have been nice. But I just thought it was really telling how in a progressive film they don't show two men kiss, and it could have just been a peck. Like, come on. Anywho, but I think Wilbur is a really good father. Like, whenever Tracy talks down about herself, like she goes, "Oh, I could lose a few pounds," and he's like, "No, like, don't you say that." Like, he's so like, you're perfect the way you are. Like, and I don't know, I think we probably all needed that voice when we were younger. And I just think he's such a sweetie. He obviously loves his wife. He is he completely encourages the rebel in Tracy. Even if it means getting arrested, he pays for bail for all of the people who get arrested at the protest.
Yeah.
You know, probably bankrupts the joke shop in the process, but he knows it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. To go incredibly kind of like one of the last things they say in the movie Seven Samurai
Oh,
is
okay.
like, it's like someone says like, we won the battle, and like one of the main samurai says, no, we didn't win. The farmers whose town we protected, like, they've won, we lost.
Uh-huh.
Kind of like
Yeah.
essentially like, we won the battle, but we lost. It wasn't for us, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And it's this idea of like, you know, you have to look bigger than yourself sometimes. Like I guess everyone thinks of the center of the universe because we live in our own heads, right? But sometimes you have the right thing is to do something that might actually lose for you in the long run. And so, yeah, I think Wilbur says something like, you know, we'll be paying off our mortgage for like another 50 years or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that sucks for you because they're already old. Like, you know what I mean? I'm looking at Wilbur going like, you should be retiring, mate. But he knew it was the right thing to do, is to get everyone out of prison. And like, he's just so selfless in that sense. Him dressing up as Tracy as the diversion at the end. Oh my God, I love the plan. I love the plan of like a diversion. Tracy's hiding in the hairspray can, and I love her popping out of the rocket. I
love that bit, like that whole bit and leading
good.
into You Can't Stop the Beat. Yeah, that bit's great.
It's so theatrical. But yeah, what did you think about Wilbur as a supportive dad?
I mean, yeah, he is just kind of like just that nice supportive figure. Just, yeah, he's there for Tracy. He, you know, completely and utterly loves his wife. Like, that's not even a question for him.
No. He would never look at another woman.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, I mean, it's kind of like we said earlier about like Tracy's positivity. That's kind of where it comes from.
That's a really good point. Exactly that. Like, he's completely devoted to the family, to his wife, to his daughter, to his joke shop, like to his community. That is him as a person. And you're right, that is where Tracy's, like, I guess, community spirit must come from, is her dad. That's a really good point. I wish we actually saw a bit more of that. But yeah, that's really lovely. The influence of fathers. Queen Latifah.
The queen.
Oh my God, just what an absolute perfect person.
Like, brilliant. It's like, I think two of the best pieces of casting in this are her as Maybelle and James Marsden as Corny Collins.
We do need to get to James Marsden as well.
Like, that is just brilliant casting.
Yeah, I think like with Queen Latifah, like, she plays this character like, there's when she has to do the ad. And she has to read I don't know what it's for, some kind of like, I guess
it's about kind of like, it's a hair relaxer.
As a hair relaxer, good.
So it's basically about the whole thing of like non-natural hair for black women.
The texture and and the way she delivers it though, this idea of like trying your best to keep a smile on, but you can hear inside she's like, for fuck's sake. Just love her voice is amazing. I'm quite surprised she didn't do more musicals, like, because like I mean I love her in Chicago. She's phenomenal in Chicago.
She's so good in Chicago.
And she's got one of the best songs, if not the best songs. But yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah, okay, cool. I don't know whether it's like gonna have them come for me. She doesn't sing a lot. She has like what, maybe 2 or 3 songs in this.
Yeah, but I mean, one of those songs though is "I Know Where I've Been," which is just like an absolute.
And which one's that? Sorry,
that's the one that in the film is they sing it at the protest.
I loved that. I loved it.
Very much just kind of like this statement about black identity.
Yes.
And
she sings it with such sadness, I felt.
Yeah, it's like sadness, but also strength and a determination as well. And I think having that as the protest song is definitely a great choice for the film, because like I said, in Big Blonde and Beautiful is kind of what they're singing as they're going to the protest.
No, and I think from a vibe point of view, this change makes sense, because it
Oh,
is
absolutely.
somber, right? Where this is not a fun thing they're doing.
Exactly.
Having to fight for their mere existence to be represented on television, like fucking hell. But I think her, well, I think her as a person, she comes with such, I think because of her height, because she's quite a tall woman, she's
Yeah.
so strong and like almost stoic. And whenever Velma would, Velma is so catty,
Mm.
where you feel for Mabel, because she cannot act the same way back, because she'd be accused of being like the angry black woman, right?
Yeah.
So she has just to take it, and there's something about her where she like has her shoulders back and she just lets it wash over her, and I'm like, the strength to be that kind of person, to hear what she's being told constantly, and rejected and told she's not worthy, and to not bite. I mean, it's a fucking shame. Like, I don't know what better than that. Like, I appreciate there were two white people talking about
Yeah. No,
race
absolutely.
issue
It's just
in
like
America.
we do.
Yeah,
We
I
can never really kind of
no,
like touch the depth of any of like the racial issues in this.
not at all, not at all. But with Queen Latifah, she is a bigger woman, so you have the intersectionality between being black and also being bigger. So, like, for lack of a better term, they're like two X's against her name, because not only is she the wrong skin color for this show station, for this TV station,
In this
she's all
time,
in
yeah.
this times. Yeah,
The segregation of the time. I mean,
exactly.
there's that scene at the kind of the at the sock hop where Tracy first like dances and gets Corny's attention. Just this
Yes.
line down the middle of the room with the
Yes.
black kids on one side and the white kids on the other.
Totally. What I thought was interesting in this watching, and I wanted to know whether you felt the same, is mm, not necessarily the race thing, because there are other characters who are enforcing it, but definitely the body thing. It's the women who are enforcing it. So, like, Velma and Amber and all the mean kids are the ones saying it, but Link doesn't see that her size is an issue. Corny Collins, which we'll get into, doesn't see her size as an issue. The Hairspray guy does see it until he starts seeing the sales come in, and he goes, "Oh no, we love her." And
Yeah, it's like what's it? I want that chubby communist off my show.
this. I know. I love it. Yeah, because she says like every day should be Negro Day or something like that, doesn't she?
Yeah.
And then even in her own household, it's Edna is the one who's telling her she's too big. She doesn't want to get hurt. She's too big. Blah blah blah. And I was like, wait, it's all women keeping other women in places.
Yeah.
Um, and I think like I'm gonna go off on another tangent. What I find, because I have a little bit of a following on TikTok, where I post my fashion, because I'm a size UK 26 to 28. You don't see many women or people my size dressing what I like to think is like nice, cool, stylish, because I'm hip and down with the kids. I use cool words. and, and I'm on TikTok. Yeah. And so, like, 99.9% of comments are just lovely and like set my soul on fire, exactly why I'm doing it. Like, representation matters. Not, yeah, it's really nice. I'm like, oh, the internet's okay. But then 0.1% of people are assholes, right? That's
Yeah.
fine. I just delete them, because I think it's not for me. It's for the fat girl who looks at my thing and then sees a shitty comment. I'm like, no, you're not reading that, hun. We're not having that. But then I get some videos, for whatever fucking reason, end up on creepy old man TikTok, which means I get loads of comments going like, I love you. Oh my God, you're so beautiful. Marry me, in like every language you can think of. But on those videos, when unfortunately the algorithm has pushed them down that tunnel, I get women in there bitching about me, going, no, she's not. Oh, literally, I had one the other day where I was wearing these sunglasses, and they were like bride sunglasses. They're really bejazzled, and they've got like bride to be. So I was meeting my bridesmaids and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, on theme. And this woman commented, bear in mind, it's a sea of just like thirsty old men in my comments. This one comment from this woman, and it says, oh, those glasses are so silly, but I guess being silly is better than being fat. And all I thought was like, oh, you really don't like that I'm getting this attention. And these women who are like, no, she's not. She looks ugly. She's fat. Whale women. And I'm like, you don't like the fact that I am breaking the beauty standards and I'm getting male validation, which I don't fucking want, but you want it. So you're acting like a pick me in my comments. And that is what Velma and Amber are doing in Hairspray. They're like, well, if you like Link can't fancy Tracy because I'm the beauty standard. And if he fancies her, then I'm not getting that male validation anymore. And therefore I have to bring her down. And you see that. So she's mean at school and Link calls her out for being mean at school, sends her to detention because of the drawing that she's like
yeah, she like, passes off a drawing as one of the teachers.
Exactly. And I'm like, that is how, because women are told from a very young age there can only be one of us at the top, right? At the table of whatever the table is, there can only be one woman. So this is constant like cattiness and bringing each other down. And you see that with Amber and Velma. They are constantly bringing Tracy and Edna down because like, no, we're at the top of the table and you can't come here. Look at the teen, what's the competition? The teen hairspray.
Oh, Miss Teen Hairspray.
Thank you, Miss Teen Hairspray. This idea that Tracy might win over Amber terrifies them because it completely, their entire worlds and reason for being, which were these pretty thin blonde women, is under attack because all of a sudden, oh, that's not what's in fashion anymore. That's not what the standard is. People want relatability. One of the reasons why Tracy does so well is because she's just a normal girl and she's nice, and people realize that Amber's a bitch, and they can't stand that, so they start to like bring her down further. They try to get kicked off the show. They are then rigging the contest because they cannot have their idea of what the beauty standard changed because their entire existence relies on them fitting the beauty standard. That's my tangent.
I mean, no, absolutely. And I mean, like you even get a hint of that. I mean, in that Miss Baltimore Crabs, the kind of audition scene.
Yes.
Amber's also doing it to just any girl, really.
Exactly.
Like she's talking about how one girl dresses.
Yes.
Another one about like a girl who has like quite a prominent nose.
Yep. There's some anti-Semitism in that moment, isn't there?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean that whole song. I mean, Velma even sings like that was it. Those poor runners up might still hold some grudges. They padded their bras, but I screwed the judges.
I heard that one. I was like, oh, great. And so therefore, like these aren't, they're not talented. They're just playing the game. And I think there's a line which says that Amber isn't even a very good dancer.
I'm pretty sure there. I can't recall when on that one, but yeah.
I just thought it was interesting on this watch, and I appreciate in watching this through the eyes of I'm looking for fat representation and I guess like diet culture and all that kind of stuff. I was really taken aback by how much it's the women who are reinforcing the beauty standard rather than the men. But then on to Corny Collins, our man James Marsden.
Oh yeah,
so fucking fit.
He's just, again, it's just such good casting because he really is just the smile, the hair, and he is just kind of very you could not have gotten a better cast. I mean, I'm trying to think if I recall, like they actually he actually beat out Hugh Jackman in the role.
I saw that,
which I think is quite funny. Cyclops versus Wolverine once again.
Oh, of course, yes. Oh yeah. So I think Corey Collins is a really good example of someone who is using their privilege to fight the good fight, right? So he sees the talent of Motormouth Maybelle. He wants them to be involved. He has absolutely no qualms in sharing the screen with her. He wants the music, he wants the dancing, he appreciates their talent. Like there's a scene, the new girl in town. Which is, I think, my favorite scene.
That is I mean, that whole kind of thing, and it has like the whole thing because it's like because you have like Amber singing it,
yes,
and then you have the black singers, the Dynamites,
The
singing
Dynamites,
it.
yes.
And Velma says, "How dare you sing the same song as us?" And she's
yes.
like, they wrote it.
It's their song.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, it's that idea of like white people taking black culture and reappropriating it very a la Elvis. And it's like, making it more packageable and palatable to a mainly white audience without giving any regard to the fact that black people could be watching it and want to hear their own people sing their own songs. I think Corny, he appreciates he is the name on the show. And so when Velma threatens him, like, oh, well, we could just get a new host, he's like, well, I am the Corny Collins show.
It's like, gee, Velma, how are you going to fire Corny Collins from the Corny Collins show?
Exactly that. And I think,
I'm like miming, playing with my like sleeves like he does in the scene kind of thing. But you can't see that, obviously. But...
no, but you've told us now. So now we have the mental image. And he spots Tracy and realizes that she should replace the dancer who's going on maternity leave.
She's taking a little break just for 9 months.
Just 9 months. So good.
Like those kids, like they're very much kind of built up as like the clean cut American teens.
So what are they called? The good kids.
Oh,
nice kids.
Nice white kids who like to lead the day.
I honestly gasped when I heard that line. I went, because I've not seen this film in years. So I was like, I remember obviously the segregation part being part of the storyline, but when they literally said the quiet bit out loud, I went, oh, okay.
It's like, oh yes, that's. I think they're called like the council, the Corny Collins Council, or something like that.
Counselors yes, that's right, because we've got our new council member, Tracy Turnblad. Yes. Yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, I think he's a really he obviously advocates for just I hate to use the phrase, but like he isn't seeing color, he's just advocating for talent.
Yeah.
And obviously like he wants Tracy because she's a really good dancer. He wants Maybelle to have the screen time she deserves because she's talented. And like at the end of I guess at the end of the pageant and I Can't Stop the Beat, he's the one who invites her on to like kind of sign off the show, I guess, and like get her more involved.
He's just like, this is the future.
Yes. Oh my god, he does say this is the future. Yes.
It's like when Amber's like, it's like, it's a horrible line. It's like, do something. The show is turning to gumbo.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh
right?
My god.
Like
that's what I'm saying. Ew. Like there was no redemption for me with Velma. I was like, she's such an asshole. I'm done. Like I'm done with her.
But then also he like encourages, because when Motormouth's daughter, little Inez, she wins the Miss Teen Hairspray.
She wins. She does.
Wins, which but yeah, so like little Inez, she wins it.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, he's like, Corny's just like perfectly happy to be like, yes,
we over the moon. Yeah.
Now and forevermore. Integrated.
Yes, 100%. And again, I guess like the fact that little Inez wins means that there are people at home who want to see that, right?
Exactly. No, that's it. It is Tracy wins in the stage show, and then little Inez. That is another change they made for the film. I was just checking that.
But, no, that works though. That's a really good change.
No, I think that absolutely works.
Yeah.
And it's just like she wins at that late stage. Like, even with all the like Velma and Amber's meddling, she legitimately wins.
And I guess maybe it's because like they say that Amber's won like 3 years in a row or something at this point, right? So probably the audience at home were like, well, if you think that she won fairly every year, because we know Velma's been tampering, but say for example she did win fairly every year, the audience at home were like, oh, it's the same old shit. At least like Inez is something they haven't seen before, like a little black girl on the screen. But not only that, she can actually fucking dance.
Yeah,
she's actually talented. So, and that's why Tracy's winning as well, right? It's this idea of like people seeing something different and liking it, like
media and just like serving us the same thing every time again, and just like media stagnation. Cough, Marvel cough.
And
I say that as a Marvel fan.
Okay.
But it is very.
It's the same.
It's the same thing all the time, and
it's just repackaged.
Yeah. Very little. God, we're on a tangent again.
No, go for it.
Like Marvel. It's very safe. It's this is a media franchise where half of existence disappears for 5 years. but it's like, oh well, it's fine because they all come back kind of,
Mm-hmm.
and it's status quo, status quo,
Mm-hmm.
status quo, status quo.
Mm-hmm. So, is there anything else you wanted to raise about Hairspray?
I mean, I feel like we've probably covered
I think
it.
we've covered quite a bit. I'm just looking at my notes. The only other thing I wanted to say, is nothing to do with anything we're talking about, is I absolutely adore Penny's final dress.
Yes, that's made out of her curtains.
Curtains, yeah.
I love it, and you can actually see like the little kind of like curtain hooks
the
at the
ring,
bottom. I love
yes.
that. It's
I think
great.
she looks great.
I mean, I think she has some great kind of like line deliveries at certain points. Like there's a bit where after Without Love they head back to
Yes.
Motormouth Maybelle's shop,
Yeah.
and she kind of realizes that Seaweed and her are together, and she
Yes.
says something like, you better be ready for a whole lot of mean coming from a
Yes.
never-ending parade of stupid. And Penny just goes, so you've met my mum.
So you met my mom. Yeah.
Like I
So
think
good.
she has, and after the Miss Baltimore Crabs, when Edna and Velma are
Yeah.
horrible to Tracy, and she's leaving,
Yes.
and she goes, I think they secretly liked you.
It's like
It's
sickly sweet, isn't it?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's sweet. And I mean, bless Amanda Bynes, like I hope she gets the help that she needs in life, like
I know.
because it's very sad. And
I know. They should be really investigating Nickelodeon by this point. Like, how many more people need to fall at their hands?
yeah, I mean, child stardom, that's a whole of a kettle of fish.
I know. I know. I really hope. I wish her nothing but good vibes. I
No,
really do. I
100%.
she's a massive part of my childhood. So I love her. I love her. On that note, let's do our ratings. So Sarah, I don't know if you know, but I rate the films that we review here out of ourselves, and we're rating on the idea of like how much we appreciate their body representation. So I'm going to ask you, out of 5 Sarahs, what would you rate Hairspray for body or fat representation?
I mean, I think I'm gonna give it 4 Sarahs.
You're going to give it 4 Sarahs. You know what? Snap. I'm giving it 4 Hannahs. I think I definitely did not appreciate this film when I was younger in the way I think I would have or I should have. I think there's probably a bit of a denial in there because I wished so hard I wasn't fat when I was a kid. And I think now I accept it and embrace it. And actually I feel inspired watching it now. I mean it's like, shoulda, woulda, coulda. I wish I felt this way when I was younger. But I think for Hannah's, I think Tracy is great. I actually think her naivety is a strength in this.
It's
Because
endearing. It's naivety, but it's very endearing
yeah,
naivety.
I do. I totally agree. I think it's endearing. She's sweet. She's strong. She's stands up for what she believes in. She's athletic. She can dance. She can sing. I love what they put her in. I love that she gets the boy. I love how she
Mm?
gets her hot boy kiss at the end. And yeah, Edna, everything's about food, but still, it's a fat suit. Okay. It's not the best. If it was just Edna, we'd be scoring this a little bit lower, I feel.
Oh yeah.
But then I think Tracy and Motormouth Maybelle.
Motormouth Maybelle.
Motormouth Maybelle. Yes, Motormouth Maybelle. I think they are just really amazing representations of fat
Yeah.
women.
It like say, here I am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Deal with it.
exactly. And I'm just thought, are there any fat men in this?
No, not really. I mean, even Mr. Pinky, he
Yeah.
isn't really.
No, I would never put him in that category.
No, I mean, I would say no.
Yeah,
Thing.
no.
Not that I can really recall off the top of my head.
No. Thank you so much, Sarah, for joining me on Fats on Film.
No, thank you for having me. This has really been really fun. And
Good.
although like the tangents get away from us, but
No.
I think we hit some really good points.
I
here.
encourage the tangents because sometimes you can find real gold in the tangents, and the listeners may disagree, but here we are. Where can the lovely listeners find you?
The lovely listeners can find me. I spend far too much time on Twitter. And you can probably find me there at Sarah Jo Smiley, which is SarahJosmiley.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Sarah. And you can the lovely listeners can find the podcast at Fats on Film on Twitter and Instagram, and me at Queen Bee Says on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Thank you so much, everyone, and we'll see you at the next one. And stay fat.